Hey beautifuls, happy thoughtful Thursday. I hope you're doing amazing. Listen, there is a new term that I am using on a regular basis. I think it's very smart. Basically it's nutritional maturity. And I think it's something that really needs to be talked about in terms of like ourselves and how we are with our nutrition. And it's interesting because we really probably, well, if you're like me, I should say, for me, I just really never thought about nutrition. I grew up, my mom gave us horrible habits. All through my 20s, I danced like 8 hours a day, so I didn't have to worry about what I ate and drank. And then, as I got older, and certainly as soon as I started body and started recognizing what I needed to do for myself nutritionally, when I got educated about what I needed to do for nutrition and how bad all the food was that I was putting in my body, then it was time to kind of grow up in terms of nutrition, right? And one way to think about it is if you had a child, I'll talk about it in two different ways. Child, obviously you are fully invested into helping that child be the best that they can be. And they come to you and it's like 10 p.m. at night and they're like, "Mommy, can I have a bunch of cookies?" You're gonna say no, because you're the adult, you're the mature one, you're gonna help them make good decisions, right? At least I certainly hope that you would say no, right? And if you're saying yes, then that's something you need to really examine. But you're the adult and you say no because you know that that is bad for them. And then turn around and there you are at midnight in the pantry, down a bunch of cookies, right? And you're like, wait a minute, I know better than this for my child. I've got to start applying that to myself. I have got to step into my nutritional maturity. And that's the same thing with like not throwing a tantrum if you can't eat all the crap food you want on a regular basis. Now look, I think a part of that is understanding that it's not about all or nothing, right? So I am very much talking right now, especially as we're gonna go into liver detox, which I hope you are all doing with me. We're gonna talk about that. We're gonna talk about, I like my martinis, I like my wine. I really don't envision me ever having a time in my life where I am not drinking at all. And I think that's okay. But my nutritional maturity is understanding that that's an occasional thing, not an everyday thing. And I can't wait to educate everyone about alcohol and all of that kind of stuff, which we will do. But, nutritional maturity is just understanding like, that's a choice and it's not an everyday thing, right? And nutritional maturity is also comes into play when you understand that food is meant for nutrition. It's not an emotional stabilizer. It's not to relieve stress. As a matter of fact, it doesn't do that at all. It doesn't do that at all. And it's quite the opposite of self-love when you are not maintaining maturity when it comes to your nutrition. So I really want you to think about that a little bit today, right? So, and I was going to give you a couple examples because not all of us have children, but like literally just as basic as a pet. If your pet is extremely obese and you bring it to the doctor, the vet's going to say that pet needs to eat less and eat better food. And it's just so obvious everywhere, right? Except when it comes to ourselves. And I think a big part of that, again, to just circle back and close it up, is just about being mature when it comes to nutrition and understanding that there's, we need to stop being childlike when we say, we have a bad day. And I'm exaggerating, because there are bad days. I think just yesterday I screamed in my house at the top of my lungs. But I didn't go running to the pantry, right, to down a bunch of cookies, because that's changed. Because I know now that that is not going to serve me. And I think that's part of maturity as well. A big part of maturity is being able to look ahead, right, past a situation to the results. And so like being able to understand that, if I'm stressed, downing a bottle of wine isn't going to solve or change anything that's stressing me out. Matter of fact, it's probably going to make it worse. Or if I'm sad or that cookies and those things, it's not going to change or solve the problem. Matter of fact, it's just going to make it worse, because now layer on top of that, I am gaining weight and not feeling well, my sugar spiked, my hormones spiked, everything's a mess. So I think first of it is education, right? Being educated, and we have to stop saying that we're not, because if you have not dived into one of our dodge. If you know the movie, you know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, but if you have not really educated yourself in our programs, specifically Portion Fix, you guys, I think that is just an amazing education. Gut Protocol is the next level of that, and Belvital will level us up even more in terms of education. But you can't say that it's not available or that you don't know. It's just that you are choosing not to. So, I challenge you for a couple things for this coming week. I challenge you, first of all, to get educated. That means if you have not dove, that's the word. All my teachers are freaking out right now. I love you. But if you have not dove into Portion Fix and really gotten educated and about nutrition and what that is and how much you should actually be eating, please do that, because that's step one. You know better, you do better, right? And then secondly, for this coming week, I really want you to recognize your nutritional maturity. Just recognize it and see if there's places that you need to get better at that. And that can be when you choose to have a drink, right? Choose to have the dessert. But maybe you figured out how to switch that up, and maybe it's a Shakeology dessert, or maybe it's a mocktail. And sometimes it's not. But when you're choosing it and you're in control of that, and not in an obsessive way, but just in a really mature decision kind of way, that's where you want to be. So I hope that helps and gives you something to think about. I love your comments below, but nutritional maturity, that's what I would like all of us to be striving for this week.